let's turn back to this Detroit Economics Club boom speech that Mr. Trump made today. I love it when he gets optimistic, and he has plenty to talk about. The numbers are on his side. Joining us, EJ Antoni, Heritage Foundation chief economist, Mike Faulkender, former deputy Treasury secretary. Gentlemen, thank you. Mike Faulkender, I don't think, you tell me, but I don't think the positive energy shock, i.e. falling energy prices, it's not just gasoline, it's all the hundreds of other things you and I have been talking about. I mean, it's hitting, all right, and it's certainly bringing down the numbers in the fourth quarter. Core CPI was 0.2% for the whole quarter, and all items with 2.1%. So, but there's more coming, isn't there?
There is more coming. So it's going to take some time for those lower gas prices to find their way into other products and go through the manufacturing process. And then the other thing is, the shelter number still seems high to me, because when you see rents, the surveys that we're seeing on new rental units, they're coming in lower than this time last year, and that hasn't found its way fully into the housing survey yet. So as I've been saying, I think that this is just the beginning of still lower numbers to come. And it's worth pointing out, this is the lowest core inflation number since March of 2021, which, as you know, Larry, is the month that Biden signed that blowout bill starting the inflation, the American Rescue Plan. And so we are finally getting back to that pandemic era of low inflation.
EJ, it really could signal absolute price stability, not just 2%. I mean, you could be looking at 0. I still believe there are going to be some CPI prints that will be negative. But I think that leaves room for monetary ease. Jay Powell notwithstanding, I know he can't build buildings. I don't know. He's so political. But the fact of the matter is, I think that leaves room for monetary ease. The stuff we're talking about, which Mr. Trump mentioned in his Detroit boom speech today, he has every reason. The other thing, EJ, I wanted to toss in there before you answer, is the tariff inflation. What happened to tariff inflation? The Federal Reserve was hyperventilating. Jay Powell, who knows nothing about trade, was talking about tariff inflation for months and months and months at the beginning of this year. So let's take a look at goods prices. Wait a second. In the fourth quarter, goods prices 1.4 at an annual rate, excluding food and energy, 0.2 at an annual rate. What happened to tariff inflation? What happened to inflation?
You might say it was transitory, or I guess no, non-existent, Larry. That would be the better phrase here. In fact, for this last month, that core goods inflation index, the price index was actually slightly negative. Now, granted, it was a fraction, right? It wasn't even 0.1%. So let's just call it flat. Still, it was supposed to be this rapid increase, right? It was supposed to hit a stratospheric level because of the tariffs, and clearly that's just not happening. But I'll tell you what is going up quite rapidly. We just got the Treasury numbers this morning for the month of, or excuse me, this afternoon for the month of December, and it showed that tariff revenue, these customs duties coming in for the first 3 months of the fiscal year, it's $90 billion. For the previous fiscal year, same time, it was only $20 billion. So clearly the tariffs are being paid, a lot of them anyway, by foreign exporters, by middlemen. It is not as if all of these costs are being passed on to the American consumer like we were told they would. It's not as if they're causing runaway inflation like the experts said they would. Powell was wrong about that, just like he was wrong about inflation being transitory. And it's funny, going back to March of 2021 that Michael just mentioned, that was the time when Powell was also saying there's no way we're going to have any inflation. There's nothing to worry about with the government spending trillions of dollars we don't have. He was wrong then. He's wrong now.
That's why I don't want to jeopardize his being around a nanosecond longer than he has to be. That's my concern about all this brouhaha. Take the subpoenas back, just get him out of there. Mike Faulkender, is there going to be a tariff dividend, do you think?
Well, I think that what it's going to do is it's going to finance the refunds that we're about to see starting with tax filing season opening up in a couple of weeks. Because, one of the things that because the tax bill was signed mid-year and rules still needed to come out, there were no changes made to the withholdings. And so if people earning tips, seniors that are receiving Social Security, those working overtime, that was all still getting tax withheld from it. And all of that is going to be refunded. And that's, again, why I think people are going to feel like there's a solution to the affordability problem come the March, April timeframe, when they start seeing tax refunds significantly larger than they were, because that's when they'll start to feel the president's policies.
And we've already had, EJ. I mean, look, Scott Bessent was saying the other day, capital good, business investment in machinery, plants, and equipment, all that. I believe he said 12% at an annual rate thus far in 2025 as the year comes to an end. 12% growth in business investment. That's because of the 100% cost expensing. That was a key component of this. I mean, you know, this is all tailor-made. There's work incentives, there's factory incentives, there's business investment incentives, there's R&D incentives, there's productivity incentives. It's all there. It's all there. I mean, I don't know that we've had such a situation. It's maybe I'm being irrationally exuberant. I get that, but I don't know. The fact profits are very strong, you know, and wage earners share in that, and they all own 401ks, or many of them. I mean, it really is. That's why I loved having Trump really go optimistic in Detroit today, EJ. I think it suits him, and I think you could see him as you looked at his body language. He was in very good spirits about it.
Well, and Larry, like you were saying earlier, there's a lot to be optimistic about in the economy right now. You can look at the labor market data that we just got. You know, unlike during the last year of the Biden administration, almost the entirety of that time, the annual increase in employment among native-born Americans, that was negative. Now, almost all the job growth in this economy is going to those native-born Americans. Wage growth for people in the labor market is outpacing inflation. Real weekly paychecks for Americans, inflation-adjusted weekly paychecks, are up roughly 1.5% since Trump took office. They fell 4% during the entirety of the Biden years. The Atlanta Fed has GDP growth projected for the fourth quarter at just over 5%. Again, things are looking better with the Treasury, where the deficit is smaller than it was this time a year ago. So whether you want to talk about at the individual level, at the federal level, you name it, the dials are all lining up. Things are heading in the right direction. We are seeing the investment boom that you're talking about. That's going to lead to more hiring. It's going to lead to faster wage increases. It is already causing a productivity boom. You were talking last week about how the productivity numbers are exploding. All of this is good for the economy and good for the American worker.
You know what? Good policies beget good results. How about that? You know what I mean? I'm staying with it, folks. 5, 6, 7%. All right. Maybe I'm too optimistic. We'll see.